Whenever I want you, like that.
All right, everybody, welcome. This is going to be another webinar that we're doing, and tonight we're talking with STYMCO Technologies, and we're going to have Fabian, who's a program director, Fabian Cruz at STYMCO Technologies, and a special guest, Alan Kowaleski. Am I pronouncing that right, Alan?
Yes, you are. Kowaleski, close enough.
All right, fantastic. And basically the goal tonight is to kind of understand, really what DME is, really what it is that people think they know about it, what people really don't know about it, what they need to know about it, and why STYMCO really is, the one-stop shop. At the end of our webinar today, we're going to be giving you guys a really cool special offer. And if you're watching this on replay, just let us know, and we'll see if we'll see what we're doing at that point. And what we'll be doing today is actually there'll be a poll towards the beginning of the webinar here, and then at the end we'll review the results and get a good idea of what everybody's expectations are. So without further ado, Fabian, take it away.
Good evening. Good evening. This is Fabian. This is special guest Alan Kowaleski.
Yes, and I guess the best way to start the program out is by sharing all the doctors we've helped across the nation already here at STYMCO. Every state is different, and I'd like everybody to kind of know, is everybody from Florida on this call? So we can focus on Florida, or are there any other different states?
I think a lot of our guests tonight are going to be in Florida, but I mean, I think it would be great to get an idea of how DME works in Florida, and then kind of get a high level view of what it looks like in the rest of the country and how it may differ from state to state. Does that make sense?
Sure. I was just in New York speaking last week, and let me open up with a little poem just to kind of set the standard here. A man knocked at the heavenly gate. His face was scarred and old. He stood before the man of fate for admission to the fold. St. Peter asked, "What have you done to gain admission here?" The doctor hung his head and said, "I've been fighting insurance companies for many and many a year." The pearly gate swung open wide. St. Peter touched the bell. "Come in and choose your harp," he said. "You've had your share of hell." The greatest part of this job, as Fabian knows, is helping doctors through the DME nightmare. There are so many different laws. There are so many different things changing. Every single insurance company has a rider attached to it. They don't want to pay you. They fight you. And what's nice about being with STYMCO is we have over 40 people here working for you. We have lawyers on staff that sue the insurance companies when we need to. We handle our own appeals and everything. And the best thing about STYMCO is you get paid every 2 weeks without hassle, every 2 weeks. And the rest of the burden is on us. So we make it really simple for you. And hopefully tonight you're going to see that program. And you don't have to worry about the pearly gates and all of the hassles that go with it. One example is the state of Florida. You need a DME license. And it came up in the state regulations that they were going to get rid of that. So you did not need a DME license. And just 2 weeks ago, it was vetoed when it got to the governor's desk. And obviously for the next 12 months, probably 24 months, you're going to still need your DME license. So you're going to have two things with us. A, you can use STYMCO and we'll do the billing for you because you need a DME license. Or with Bill DME, as you're going to see tonight, we'll set up the circumstances whereby you can bill DME for yourself. And Fabian, we're not picky. We'll help them either way, won't we?
No matter what, we definitely will.
So let's get started.
So we're going to start off with pretty much just explaining what DME really is. A lot of people get the question quite a bit from doctors, like, what do you consider DME? We consider DME something that a patient gets a better quality of life from at home. Between their visits from their doctors, they're getting treated by their doctor, but it's going to take them quite a while to heal depending on their case. So just durable medical equipment that we typically provide, which would be electrotherapy, orthopedic bracing. When I say electrotherapy, I mean portable TENS, portable interferential units.
And it's very important here, Fabian, as you know, to let them know a lot of doctors' offices will bill for electrical therapy in their office. That's fantastic. But what about post-care? Or what about in-between visits? to bill for durable medical equipment at home, you have to have the DME license to do that. So I have doctors say, I already bill for electrical therapy, inferential, microcurrent in my office. Fantastic, keep doing that. What about post-care when the patient's done? You can set up the circumstances where the patient can take a little piece of you home with the electrical therapy and keep doing it. And when they need to come back in, you've already still got that connection with them, and you're giving them great care at home and getting paid for that.
Exactly. And the patients appreciate that the most, because when a doctor goes out of their way to pretty much give them the equipment straight from their office and say, you need to use this between your visits, which they don't hear very often from not all their physicians, they really appreciate the fact that they're getting that extra help. Doctors go on that extra mile. So not only does patient satisfaction go up, treatment outcomes go up as well. And then the doctor's revenue increases as long as he's working with the right people.
I'm glad you said outcomes, because one of the things I've been training my doctors on lately, a microcurrent. We offer the top quality TENS units, and we also offer microcurrent inferential. And whether you're doing spinal decompression, whatever extra modalities you are doing, we all know that TENS just is an alternating pain current, but there's so much research now on microcurrent inferential that shows the electrical therapy penetrating down to the ATP receptor cell, literally improving blood circulation and blood flow. So it's not just about blocking pain with TENS alternating current. We offer that, but you can also now give them microcurrent for blood flow and literally increase for neuropathy, for arthritis, for fibromyalgia. There's a wide range of things with all the ICD-9 codes that you can get paid for this service.
Emotional healing, of course. So yeah, and this all this type of equipment that we deal with can all obviously be billed and reimbursed through all commercial insurance carriers, Medicare, Medicaid, for all the home use between their visits. So it's definitely something that a lot of doctors are starting to look into now if they've never done it before, being that doctors are having trouble getting paid for anything anyways. A lot of people are going to cash practices. So before all that happens, you know, we actually have an option to take advantage of the insurance while it's around, because we have the upper hand on that since we know what we're doing.
Basically, before we go to the next page, just remember that this is one of the last Mohicans. It's one of the last ways for doctors to truly make money in the industry that they've taken most things away from us chiropractors.
So a lot of doctors are still outsourcing their DMEs, typically because they just don't want to deal with it. But why not offer that directly from your practice? So not only does it help having the expertise, like on our end, we have STYMCO and Bill DME. Obviously, we have it down to a science. And if anybody's tried to bill it before in the past, they know how hard it is to actually bill and collect from the insurance companies. These doctors are saying, yeah, I'm billing and I'm collecting. Of course, yeah, how much are you collecting, doc? When you ask them how much they're actually getting back and they get a check from it, they say, oh, $50, $100, some zero, some they lost on, a couple $100 is the average. But when they're actually billing that unit, are they billing the supplies? Are they doing it correctly? You know, it's really hard to actually bill DME correctly and actually be paid.
Oh, let me enter this too. Now, that's for that group. But Fabian, as you know, I also have a group of doctors that go, listen, Alan, when I bill electrical therapy for home use, and let's say they have a DME license and they can bill for home use, and they go, I collect $400. I go, fantastic. How hard was it, and how much time and how many staff members did you have to utilize to bill that? With us, all you do is write the medical necessity, and then we do everything else. So even if you are collecting a fair wage, is it worth your time to do it? That's a big question. And when we do the analysis for you, when we sit down with you and look at your EOBs, make sure you're getting what you should be getting, then we do that time analysis and you can do your due diligence and make a choice.
Exactly. The overhead actually seems to be quite more than what they think.
Actually, a great question on that just came in on our Facebook feed from someone named Ellie, saying that in their office, you know, if they suddenly didn't have the overhead need for DME follow through and follow up, you know, what would they do? I mean, is that like where you get rid of staff, or do you retool them? I mean, what do you guys usually see happen?
Excellent question. This is what we do, and we'll get into that in a couple pages, but great question, Ellie. This is actually what takes place. When the doctor writes a medical necessity and you have to spend the time, somebody in your office has to pick up the phone, dial the insurance companies, get put on hold, play that game, 30 minutes or more, what time is that worth for the CA? I always say behind every good doctor is a better staff. Well, if they're making pre-qualifications on insurance verifications, or if you have somebody dedicated full-time to that, don't forget, we've got 40 people here. When you're in our provider network as one of our providing doctors, all you have to do is send in our one-page verification, fax or email, or go online and type it in. We do all the pre-qualification for you. In fact, our staff, our assistants are trained to get all pre-qualifications done for you, whether you use it or not, so the doctor can pick and choose who he spends time with. The doctor's time is valuable, it's money, so is your staff. So that's a great question, Ellie, and to answer it, you can't ever lose by having us do all of your pre-qualifications for you.
Exactly. So, but yeah, that's what we do here at STYMCO. You know, we offer the options. So when doctors are not offering DME in their practice, we help them easily offer it in their practice by our different options. So,
or if you are offering it, what's the time constraint of sitting with your insurance companies? Let us do that for you. And the other thing that's great is, Ellie, how do you know until you use us? There's no contract with us. Once you become a provider in our provider network, you can quit at any time. We supply you with the units, and doctor writes a medical prescription, and we pre-approve and verify the insurance. If their insurance is not approved, which, by the way, we have a 60–70% success rate on getting people approved nationwide. If someone's not approved, well, then the doctor is not even going to prescribe it. He's going to think of other alternatives for them. But if it is approved, the doctor now has this in his arsenal to help the patient get better with post-care, pre or post-care with electrical therapy at home. He's going to simply write that prescription with the faith that, hey, he's not wasting his time. It's already pre-approved. He knows he's going to get paid too. That's huge.
Exactly.
So again, there's no contracts with us. You can use this for a month. You can use this for 6 months.
The main thing is that we give you the options, so that way you don't have the overhead. You know, we pretty much take the time and the overhead out of it, making sure that it's actually a significant revenue increase for you, and you're actually helping your patient by offering the options without having to do the extra work.
So we can get to that page for them.
So we carry on. Let's face it. You know, physicians, you can only make so much from your office visits. You can only bill for an adjustment as a chiropractor, and you can only bill so much for doing electrotherapy in the office, like EMS or eSTEM or whatever you want to call it. So why are these physicians letting the business slip out of the door daily? You know, what's holding the practices back from offering DME options? So what we usually hear is, well, we can't get it covered. We can't, when we send it out to the insurance company, they're not paying us back for it. You know, they don't cover TENS units, or they don't cover orthopedic bracing or anything like that. Typically, yeah, a chiropractor can't get it covered, but when you have a DME license or you're a DME company, you get more covered. So some of the DME challenges, billing challenges that we see here that I've listed, cost of in-house billing staff can add up, which we just spoke about. Verifying insurance coverage is tedious and time-consuming. Billing codes and modifiers are difficult to learn and understand. They always change. You always got to stay on top of that, because if you don't stay on top of that, you're wasting time. Billing process can vary by insurance company. Every insurance company wants something different. One insurance company wants you to bill the supplies on a certain day after you bill the unit, or some insurance companies want you to send supplies monthly. They don't accept a year's worth of supplies at once. You know, there's different ways to actually bill insurance companies to get it approved. Billing incorrectly can actually cost you money, your license, and even your freedom.
I got to jump in on this one. This is one of my favorite ones, and people understand that in the business of insurance games, everything's predicated on Medicare. Some doctors bill up to, on non-Medicare, your typical insurance bills out of network, they'll bill all the way up to 200% Medicare, or they'll bill 100% or 75%. We tend to bill 20 to 40% over Medicare and keep it really simple, always regulatory and compliant and under any flags. But rest assured that when you're with us, we actually self-audit with Medicare twice a year. And I love it when they come in. Great, great, great. Oh, you got to tweak this. Oh, don't do that. That's changed, etc. So as a national company, we self-audit, which protects us, which automatically protects you as being a doctor in our provider network. That's huge. You have nothing to worry about.
You could probably say we have the fastest Medicare inspections. They come in, they come out.
Everybody's afraid of Medicare. Once you learn to play by their rules and you play by their ruals, it's good. We welcome them.
So another
we
thing
buy
at
them
the
lunch?
end,
No, we don't.
we want to get them out the door. The last thing here at the end of the list for the challenges is license acquisition for state HME and for the Medicare DME RC license. I mean, that takes up to 6 months if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, it can take you up to a year or longer. I mean, I know doctors that have been going through it for over a year. Now they said, screw it, I'm just going to go ahead and use Bill DME because this is taking forever. You guys can make me more money anyways. You know, so the license acquisition is probably the most tedious thing that you can do when you're trying to do DME yourself in the office, which is pretty challenging.
And let me jump in here. We jumped into the billing challenges, but remember, we have 2 programs we're talking about. We have one where we do all the billing for you, and then we're also sharing the billing challenges. So if you want to bill yourself, we'll help you. Remember, if you bill it yourself, you're going to make the lion's share of the money.
Yep. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the different options that they have.
Excellent.
So we want to make sure that everybody understands what DME is and what challenges that people have and what you should be aware of when you want to build DME in your office. Obviously, yeah, you need to know these things. So like Alan jumped in and said something about the Medicare guidelines. As many people know, is that a lot of the durable medical equipment products are regulated by Medicare, but also even if you're not billing Medicare, all of the major medical insurance companies use Medicare guidelines. You know, so you always have to make sure you're on top of all the Medicare guidelines. You got to make sure that you're billing the proper amounts. You got to make sure you're billing the proper codes. You got to make sure that you're not wasting time with insurance companies that are very strict on the guidelines as well, because you can bill stuff and just, you know, as many people know, you can waste your time. So regardless if a DME supplier is a Medicare provider or not, it's at its best interest to follow all applicable regulations. As it says here, keeping up to date and in compliance with Medicare guidelines avoids unsuccessful audits and potential reimbursements to insurance carriers. And then, as we mentioned before, the diagnosis codes that support medical necessity, along with notes and history of the patient, are a vital key to successfully process clean claims, receive payments, and maintain accurate records for each patient. So even if a DME supplier does not accept Medicare patients, we recommend that all Medicare standards and regulations are followed in order to stay in compliance, since they all use those guidelines. There's very few that don't. But another thing too would be the pricing criteria that Alan mentioned before. We recommend you keep your pricing between 20 and 40% above their pricing. Obviously, you know that they're only going to pay, what, 60 to 70% of what you bill anyways, pay out on that. So saying 20 or 40% above that doesn't raise any red flags. You know, it's not going to draw any attention to you. But there is some companies that will go up to 200%. But we rather not take the risk and pretty much keep our billing down to an art form almost, where we got it down to how we're so successful. So that's where we're able to stay at 20 to 40%. That's what we recommend if you are able to do it yourself. So it's very important to remain in compliance by checking Medicare's quarterly DME fee schedules for allowable procedure codes and billing charges, obviously. And then the medical necessity thing, I was going to let Alan talk about the medical necessity a little bit. Alan, what do you have to say about medical necessity?
Well, it's pretty easy. One of the things that it's going to happen when you become a STYMCO member with us or a Bill DME member with us is you've got all of the ICD-9 codes. You're going to get all the guidelines. You're going to get trained by one of our tremendous staff members. And we always tell the doctors, you absolutely sit in on the training, but have 1 or 2 people in the office that this is going to be delegated to. So the medical necessity is totally predicated by the ICD-9 codes. And rest assured, for electrical therapy modalities, for all home use, there are enough ICD-9 codes that will allow you to write the medical necessity with ease and comfort. So everything from lower back pain to carpal tunnel to neuropathy to knee pain, there are a lot of ICD-9 codes that have been established over the years that allow for the medical necessity. So you're safe there. The other thing I want to share with medical necessity for home use product is one of the #1 things that they look at is that it will always restore or facilitate a patient's role at home for his or her daily activities. Mm-hmm. Now, if there's something wrong on that medical necessity, and we ask you for medical notes, and yes, we say it's 1 page, and we verify the insurance, and it's real easy, but remember, we do workers' comp, we do PI, mm-hmm. we do all out of network. Rest assured, on some cases, you're going to have to do a couple notes, and there'll be a medical note to prove the medical necessity. Everybody here in this office will make sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and it's real simple. If we don't think it's up to snuff for a medical necessity note, We just send it back and say, please do this, this, and this, and correct the paperwork. And then once that's done, we get it approved. Insurance is approved. Everything's good. You get paid within 2 weeks. You get paid within 2 weeks all the time for everything that's approved. So medical necessity is cut and dried with the ICD-9 codes. You have 40 people with eyes and ears that make sure that you're doing it right.
And one of the good things about us too is we provide our physicians with the ICD-9 codes, with definitions of each ICD-9 code, so they know which ICD-9 codes they should use if they don't know.
Exactly.
So they don't have to.
Basically, the rule is anything above C2 and higher, electrical therapy can't be used for. Even though I've done lots of research and I've been with eye, nose, and throat specialists who loved our microcurrent right at C2 for headaches. He would even place the electrodes on the temples and C2 and eliminate headaches in his practice, but the insurance companies won't pay for anything above C2. Doesn't mean you can't do it. You just won't get paid for it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder why that is. I mean, do you think that there's a rhyme or reason for why they don't want to pay for that?
That's a great question. And if I was a comedian, I could answer that. You know, what in the HE double toothpick is a rhyme and the reason for a lot of things in the medical world and Medicare. You know, working with chiropractors for the last 30 years, I was around when we, the Chiropractic Association, the ACA, fought the AMA, the American Medical Association, because we sued the American Medical Association, and the ACA is the only organization in the world that's ever sued the AMA and won. You know, it's just constant suppression, and it's okay though. Things are better now in the year 2015. Chiropractic works, electrical therapy works, and we work because we not only play by the rules, but we help doctors think outside the box to play by the rules. That's why our doctors love us.
Got it.
So Alan pretty much got that down pat. You can tell he's been. This is his first rodeo. So one of the best things offering bracing when you're doing DME is just sort of the off-the-shelf bracing. So that way you can keep it in your office for convenience. OTS bracelets are prefabricated items which require minimal self-adjustment for appropriate use and do not require expertise in trimming or bending. So pretty much anybody can fit a patient in your office that you train. You don't have to worry about having certain staff in there. I mean, a medical assistant can fit a patient with the brace if it's OTS. So even though it does have to have a PDAC. So if you are carrying any type of OTS braces, you got to make sure that they are PDAC approved, which all of the equipment that we carry here at STYMCO is PDAC approved, no matter what, if it's wholesale, if it's through STYMCO, or if it's through Bill DME. We don't release anything that's not.
And we find that people have used other products, but once they've been with us for a while, whether it's STYMCO or Bill DME, they end up buying wholesale from us because they realize they get the exact same product for a lot less money. They don't believe it at first, but they find out. So the Discount DME is kind of a silent partner with us. Not much is said because at the end of the day, with a quality PDAC brace, and other people sell them in the world, really bottom line is price. So, you know, we really focus on good service with STYMCO and Bill DME and then offer the best prices in wholesale. It's a durable medical equipment heaven for the average doctor.
It's the powerhouse. I call it the powerhouse. Yeah. We got every solution for you. So another one thing I want to start with here is 3 successful options to consider when planning on becoming a DME provider. Is 1, you can buy and sell the equipment to your patients for cash. That's easy. You know, you buy a brace for $50, you sell it for $90, you make $40. You know, but this patient still has to come out of pocket. That's the only thing. They pay for insurance every month. They want to use their insurance, and especially if they can use their insurance, and if they do for some reason have a bill left over after their DME is billed, and they don't get sent to collections, it's even better. So that way they don't have to ever come out of pocket for the equipment that is provided by their physician, which is what we help with. Or 2, become a member with the DME provider without the need of a license, like STYMCO Technologies. Or 3, get your own HME or DME-RC license and team up with a third-party consultant / biller focused on solely DME, which is our third company called Bill DME, which would become doctors with high volume typically. Wouldn't want to get their own DME license. They see the benefit of billing this properly with our help, with our expertise. We show them how to actually bill and max collect, and then we only keep a small percentage of that once we do collect for them, which once they realize, and which we'll go in further detail in a moment about that, it can be a significant increase in revenue that I had no idea you can make. So let's move on to by STYMCO. So STYMCO is our national provider network. STYMCO is our parent company. This is where we started with. It's the quickest and easiest option for chiropractors, physical therapists, podiatrists, MDs, DOs, anybody to offer DME in their practice without having to get their own medical, without having to get their own DME, HME, or DME-RC license to do so. Through STYMCO, we accept all major medical coverage. We don't accept Medicare and Medicaid. And for any doctor that deals with Medicare and Medicaid, you probably understand why. Members can be, like I said, DCs, PTs, DOs, MDs, anybody pretty much can do it. As long as they have a doctor or an MD that is there to sign.
And I just want to add something here. We accept all medical coverage except Medicare and Medicaid. Remember, as Bill DME, we accept it. So we've been talking about it with enthusiasm. But for STYMCO, as a national provider for you, we don't do Medicare and Medicaid. So for the doctors who do not have a DME license, and we do the DME billing, we do all out of network except for Medicare. If a doctor wants to do Medicare, we help him get his Bill DME license, and we get enthusiastic on that side for him.
Exactly. We know how to bill it. We just don't want to bill it through STYMCO. Supplies to the members with STYMCO, they're all at no cost. You don't have to pay for any of the equipment that you keep in the office for convenience. Whenever you do have a patient that needs something, you already have it in the office, which is great, and they love that. We verify all the patient's coverage for you, so you don't have to deal with any of the insurance hassles. It's as easy as just sending in some insurance information to us. We let you know within 24 hours to max 48 hours if they're approved or denied. If they're approved, they can be fitted with the unit that you have already, sent home with that unit, and then we would just receive the paperwork on our end. We send supplies to the patients, so you don't even have to worry about that either. That way they can continuously use their unit as you prescribed it. And we also follow up to make sure everything works with them over the phone. And
we actually do a 3-day, a 30-day, a 60, and a 90. And what's really important at that 3 days, they get their EOB, and we have someone definitely go over how that works, answer any insurance questions, answer any deductible questions, and we're on top of that. In fact, the person that does that just won Employee of the Year at our last party, because she talks to 2,000 people a month and makes sure that they're happy on the 3rd day. And then she has support staff, and they call 30, 60, 90. So we're really big on following up and making sure the patient's happy. It's like if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy in the family. And the doctor, and here we are at STYMCO and Bill DME, we know if the patient's not happy, you're not happy, then we're not happy. So our patient follow-up is huge. With that said, I want to put in right here, running a clinic for 10 years, and one of the first things I asked here when I started here a few years back, do we chase people for money? I don't want anybody chasing my patients for money. Rest assured, doctors, we don't, but we follow the guidelines to a T. We have to make an attempt to collect any deductibles, and we do that. And it's a very nice form on the 3rd day. Again, when they get their EOBs, the patient goes, hey, I thought my doctor said my insurance covers this. It absolutely does. If you can't pay the deductible, just sign the hardship agreement and send it in. Rest assured, your patients will never get sent to a collection agency, nor will we chase them for that deductible. We make enough money. We play the game of law of averages, where we make a little, we make a lot, we make a middle ground. You will always get paid every 2 weeks, no matter what, the $325 for services rendered, and we do the rest. So the patient wins, and you win, and it's a win-win.
There you go. So one of the things that start out with STYMCO, we always start out our new members with 2 units to start out with. Everything's at no cost, like I said. As you can see here, you can see the lineup of electrotherapy that we're currently using. We actually are manufacturing our own right now, which is going to have all the modalities, and you're going to be able to choose body parts and everything like that, which makes it easy to use for patients without having any questions, and we should have that within about 90 days. But for right now, we do offer the latest out in electrotherapy, and it's all top quality equipment, as well as orthopedic braces. So you choose 2 units to get started, and we train you on the whole program right away. As we already spoke about, this is how it works with STYMCO. You submit the patient's insurance information, and then once you know if they're approved, you can prescribe the device that you already have. You fit the patient, show them how to use it, schedule a follow-up appointment with them within 30 days. And then you're going to complete the patient agreement and the medical necessity form that's already inside the unit. Send that back to us with the invoice that you're going to use to bill us for your services rendered. And that can be up to $325. That's for fitting, for a follow-up appointment, which is considered monitoring, And for the administrative, which is just making sure the medical necessities filled out properly for us, that equals $200 for electrotherapy, and then up to $125 for bracing. So it can be up to a total of $325 for services rendered to a patient that's using our equipment.
And Fabian, I know you do. I have doctors who are doing 10 and 20 a month. That's a nice check for them every 2 weeks. You know, that's
exactly
$3,000 every 2 weeks. I have some doctors who do 2 a month, and they're very happy that the patient gets a good service, and they're, hey, that's an extra $400 in a month in my pocket, and I really didn't do anything. So it doesn't matter.
$400 to $650.
We'll work with you if it's 1 patient a month or if it's 30 patients a month.
We make it as easy as possible. So, and then I was going to go into just pretty much show you why, just to show you what the fees are. Setting up fee, which is fitting, monitoring fee, and then administrative fee once more. That's what we pay our. So our second company, if you decide you have a high volume and you want to go out and you want to get your own license, you want to pretty much bill it all yourself.
You want to do Medicare.
And you want to do Medicare or anything like that, you would use Bill DME, which is our third-party biller. Now, STYMCO Technologies is, well, I like to call it the DME powerhouse, because we're the only DME company that has 3 companies under one roof. I mean, we literally have every solution to DME that you need. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns of how you're billing, if you want to make sure that you are max collecting, if you want to take your billing, your TENS units and making $300 to $400 to making $2,000 to $4,000, that's what we do for you through Bill DME. Yeah, you're going to have to get your own license, and yeah, you're going to have to use your license to bill. You can't use ours. And yes, you're going to have to deal with the collections and all that stuff, but you really don't with Bill DME, because we actually do the work for you.
And here's a question for everyone that I want you to write down and think about. We've given you the option to get no license with STYMCO. You realize you're going to get paid up to $325 for services rendered. People go, well, how do I know if I need to spend the effort and time to get my DME license? Depending on what state you're in, it's always going to be somewhere between $200 and $3,500, and it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks. So for that 6 to 8 weeks and $200 to $3,500, which, by the way, is not our fee, we're doing that service at no charge for you. That $2,000 to $3,500 is for the state and the mandatory fees that you have to pay for the license acquisition. So those are fees you're going to have to pay depending on the state, and it takes 6 to 8 weeks. So how do I know I need to do this? Well, when you go with STYMCO and you start turning in patients to us and you see what you get approved, and then you see how many Medicare you're leaving on the table, you can start to think, wow, I got 10 approved, so I made $3,000, and I know that on the table there's another 60% of that, 50% of that. Even billing under the guidelines conservatively, you start to think, well, I'm okay with $3,000, but if I get my DME license and bill, that's going to go up substantially. So there's no need to make the choice now. Start with STYMCO, see where you're at, consult with us, start getting paid for those patients immediately, and you can always go into Bill DME. So
knowing the volume you have, so that way you know you'll be successful without wasting time. That's exactly right. So, but yeah, there are some things about the DME license acquisition that you should know. You know, you got to determine the requirements. Every state's different. Some states require a license, some states don't. Every state requires a DME license for Medicare if you want to do Medicare, no matter what.
It's a DME number.
Yeah, DME number, DMERC. Then we finalize the application for you. We make sure you have all the proper steps taken. We make sure that you have everything in place to actually pass any audits or inspections that come across when you're getting your license. I mean, we make sure that all the hoops and hurdles you're able to jump through all the hoops and hurdles without an issue, because we know what to do already. You know, there's no guessing with us. We pretty much got it down to a science, so no one's wasting their time, and we get the license for you as fast as possible. So as opposed to trying and failing and then going back and forth with the licensing companies, we already know what needs to be done, so we make sure you do it the right way. Also with the licensing company, you're going to have to pay, and the reason that we don't charge you for this is at the end and you have your license or your Medicare number, we have 2 plans. One, we do all that work for you and hold your hand and make sure everything's compliant. And remember, you're always going to have to do an on-site training
And some of the on-site training things are pretty complicated, right down to you have to have your hours posted on your door where you can read it. You have to have 200 square feet in your office. You have to have the correct amount of supplies on that. It gets quite complicated. We'll make sure that you pass your inspection, no problem, and get your license. For that, we get 15% for 3 years. It's a 3-year contract. And doctors go to me, 15%, you start calculating what you would have to pay a person in your office to do that with sick leave, maternity leave, et cetera, and wage. And 15% is a very fair wage for the quality of money that you will get on your return on your investment. If you already have your Medicare number, if you already have a DME license and you still want somebody to bill it for you because you know you're leaving money on the table and it's too time consuming, we do 10%. So if you already have your number or license, it's 10%. If we walk you through that whole process, it's 15.
There you go. So we do make it a simple process for you if you want to go with us. But some of the services that we do through Bill DME would be insurance verifications. We also have certified billing specialists, patient statements, payment securities, appeals, 24/7 reports. We do everything from billing to collecting to reporting to fulfillment. Pretty much everything. We have every single tool you need to be successful. And the difference between you trying to bill it yourself as not being a professional DME biller and us is that we know how to bill supplies and maximize the revenue coming from DME. So your person that you're paying in the office to bill the stuff that really is just billing maybe just a TINS unit and maybe collecting $300-400, they don't know how to bill the supplies. They don't know how to max it out. So even if you wanted to cancel that overhead you have, pay us the 15% or the 10%, we're going to make you thousands of more dollars in the back end. So you're typically saving money and making money in the same hoop.
Absolutely. And you're going to have access to the reports. Is that I'm going to let them know that you definitely are going to have access to all of the reports. You're going to have a lockbox. I'm jumping ahead of myself. But
yeah, but what you're going to have is we set you up if you want to go with Bill DME and you want to get your license and do it all. We set you up with the lockbox so that way everything goes in straight into your lockbox into your bank account so you can pull out the funds whenever you like to. So you get that immediately. We post that directly and accurately to your account so you always know. The appeals, our in-house attorneys, we take care of all the appeals for you with our staff so you don't have to worry about that either.
And I'm going to share some stories there. Again, being around the block once or twice. So many insurance companies play the game. I know a doctor in Tampa that did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. This doctor has been around a long time. He's well respected. He has 30 staff members, and Medicare accused him of something, shut him down, did not pay him, stopped paying him. He went 6 months still paying his payroll and not collecting any money from Medicare, which was 80% of his business. Damn near put him out of business, took all of his life savings, and spent a lot of money appealing it and getting Medicare to wake up. Well, if you're with us, you've got a large national organization doing the appeals, which is always better than just being a single office by yourself. And don't ask me why, but part of the game is preying on the smaller doctor who can't defend himself, and it's just part of the game. So again, being with a national organization, having the power of us doing the appeals for you is huge. And obviously you have 24/7 to all the reports and everything customized for you.
Exactly. So with that being said, how are we different? Well, we only specialize in durable medical equipment exclusively, and we don't deal with anything else. We don't bill anything
No
else.
other billing. That's our one number one focus, DME.
Exactly. So how do we have it down to a science? Because that's all we do. That's all we deal with is billing durable medical equipment. So our expertise in allowances, claims, filing procedures, proper coding, timely follow-ups, and immediate appeals. Filing lead to increased collections. Outstanding balances are worked line by our experienced collection staff. We do not simply resubmit claims. We do whatever it takes for us to get that paid. We do it for you. Not many people can say that. And then we also identify the HCPCS codes selected for development or additional documentation requests quickly to help them obtaining medical records resulting in faster payment. So we work directly with you. If we need something, boom, we get in touch with you and we get that done as fast as possible. Instead of just notifying the client of denial, we explain the nature of denials to allow them to implement procedures to avoid future denials. So we make sure that if there is something you're doing wrong, we fix it immediately to make sure that your DME billing is as successful as possible. So the pros.
Don't forget, we make 10 or 15% on that. It's going to be as successful as possible.
Very true. Very true. So the pros, I mean, obviously it increases your practice revenue like no other. Verify accurate insurance coverage, reduces billing errors, updated coding and modifiers, faster collections, improved patient collections, limit staffing costs. And is there any cons?
Oh, there's one more pro I have to ask that. You never have to worry about doing anything wrong. Oh, that's huge. We got to add that, Fabian. Right? We talked about that earlier. And then as far as cons, I leave a big question mark, because when we talk to you doctors on the phone, I want you to try and come up with a con.
Yeah.
Let me know. Looks pretty good to me.
So the exclusive offer for the show today, for all the POI Technology webinar attendees or anybody that sees this, email me or contact me, Fabian Cruz, with any questions. And if you'd like to set up a consultation, we're giving out free 30-minute consultations to consult with you about how you're doing, Bill.
This includes looking at your EOBs.
Yep, looking at your EOBs, seeing what you're collecting, and pretty much helping you pick the right choice for you. So everybody needs to implement some type of DME service, because like I said in the beginning, you can only make so much with your office visits. You only make so much with adjustments and stuff you're doing in the office. What about the stuff that you're not doing in the office? What about when that patient's in pain over the weekend and they haven't gotten all the help? I mean, they're still going to. You may be a great physician, but you're still dealing with some symptoms.
I always say, out of sight, out of mind. Durable medical equipment is an extension of the body. It's an extension of the practice, and they're walking around at home with it, and it's yours.
Exactly.
So I'm going to end with this, and then Fabian's going to end. Just remember, if you don't want to be at the pearly gates hanging your head, fighting with the insurance companies, you've got Bill, DME, and STYMCO. Have a great night.
Thank you, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an incredible thing. You know, you hear stories about people who struggle, and I mean, there are stories about practice owners that'll go to patients' houses in the middle of the week, at night, and the weekend, and the extension of the office, the service that goes beyond the visit, really is a powerful thing. And if you can actually extend that to become a real revenue stream, I mean, that's an incredible thing. So so thank you guys both for this. As I mentioned before, on the screen, you're going to see the exclusive offer from STYMCO, along with an actual a way to contact, of course, Fabian Cruz, and a button that you can click that'll take you directly over there. And of course, the replay for this will be available right after, and that'll be on our blog at Practice On It. And of course, next week, super cool, Fabian agreed to be our guest on our weekly live cast. So he'll be on next Wednesday at 10 a.m. and we'll be talking all things DME. So yeah, it's gonna be really fun. So in the meantime, if there are any questions that you had that we weren't able to get to, we'll answer those directly to you, and then of course we'll get you connected with Fabian and his team. So thank you guys again, and good luck to you.
Thanks for being here. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Take care.